In the model of the ancient wedding, there are two significant events, each with distinct elements and usually separated by a good deal of time. The betrothal includes a covenant between the groom and the bride's father. He writes out a laundry list of requirements in consideration of the bride and their potential family. I'm suggesting the Abrahamic blood path covenant is the betrothal. I know the model doesn't work at first because, frankly, there is no bride. And if Abram is the groom, he's never given the terms of the kiddushin. This is evidenced by how long he stands around waiting. Vultures even start showing up looking for a snack. But God sets Abram aside and walks the blood path himself. So now Abram is deleted out of the picture. God becomes the groom himself, and he holds himself accountable to look after the bride, who is actually Abram's legacy. And God says in Genesis 17, "My covenant I will establish with Isaac." Now keep in mind that a betrothed couple were legally married at this point. The ceremony, consummation, and feast will happen much later. But in order to split up after this stage, the groom would have to divorce the would-be bride. This is evidenced by Joseph and Mary in their story, and how he thought about divorcing her due to her being pregnant by someone else, even though they weren't married yet. If you want an Old Testament example, look at Lot's two daughters, who are often misunderstood to have been married, and sometimes resulting in an erroneous belief that Lot had four daughters, two married and two virgins, when in fact there were only two virgin daughters, and they were betrothed to Sodomites, no less. Let's throw a wrench in the works and go along with what Paul tells us in Romans 9 and Galatians 3, that the seed of Abraham is those who have the faith of Abraham. Can it suffice to say that we're all just part of the same equation? What do you think Paul was so mind-blown about in Romans chapter 11? He was telling of how we Gentiles are used by God to fulfill his purpose in redeeming his people by none other than his Son. Do we not want to be on God's team, accomplishing his will? This is incredibly important stuff in chapters 9 through 11. But listen, this is what Paul is just mind blown about. First of all, the deliverer will come out of Zion, so we know who we're talking about. He will turn away ungodliness from Jacob in verse 26. For this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. All right, so we know what's going on. Concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake, but concerning the election, they are beloved for the sake of the fathers. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. And verse 30, for as you, us, were once disobedient to God, yet have now obtained mercy through their disobedience, even so these have also now been disobedient, that through the mercy shown you, they may also obtain mercy. There's no doubt what Paul is trying to do here. He's trying to show this teeter-totter, this balance between the two. God has committed them all to disobedience that he might have mercy on all. That puts us all in the same boat. We all need mercy. We all need Jesus. But this is where the Gentiles have the opportunity to be a part of this plan, a part of God's redemption plan. This is much bigger than this, and we're going to get into it.